Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about everything that I made for basketball season this past January and February. If you're new here, my name is Alisha. I am a full-time teacher by day and I sew at night. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I love to share all my tips and tricks here on this channel, so I hope you'll subscribe below. All right, so last year I made these puffer jersey jackets. I was kind of disappointed last year when I made them because they didn't get much traction when I posted them, and I feel like that's kind of two reasons why. The first one is I was newly postpartum. So I made these 2 months into my postpartum. My daughter was born in September and I started working on these in December of 2024. I finished them in January of 2025 because I was working on not only one, but two, one for my husband to wear and one for me to wear in the crowds. That's why you'll see the pink inside. That's my version. But I was very insecure postpartum. I still am very uncomfortable in my postpartum body. I unfortunately had to have a C-section that I didn't want. My daughter was 11 pounds, 5 ounces at birth. And no, I did not have gestational diabetes. I'm tall, my husband's even taller. So we just made a really giant baby. But I still struggle with that C-section shelf. So after I gave birth, I was very insecure. I felt very large and I just didn't want to be photographed. So that's probably reason number one. Reason number two, the night that we were supposed to wear these, I developed mastitis. And I didn't know that I had mastitis. I honestly just thought I was coming down with the flu and I was freaking out because I had a newborn. So I called my parents because I knew my parents were going to go to the game. It was the night my husband's team won league. And so I was so excited to debut these jersey vests that I had spent 2 months working on between being a new mom and having very little downtime. And so I was so excited to show off these vests. And then I didn't even end up going to the game. I had a 103-degree fever. Again, I thought being a first-time mom and never having mastitis, I had the aches, the chills. To be honest, I wasn't even tender or sore. It was just a full body, I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm getting sick. So I called my parents to take my daughter to the game and I stayed home in bed. And then that night when my mom and dad came back with my husband to drop off my daughter, my mom said, do you think it might be mastitis? I think you should go to the doctor tomorrow. I did, and I had mastitis. So I was so upset because I couldn't get the content that I wanted. I didn't feel comfortable taking videos of myself in the jacket. So I think that's probably why it didn't get the recognition that they deserved. And so this year, when I posted them about, I made these for Spirit Wear last season, everyone was like, oh my gosh, I want one. And I was like, wow, now they're finally getting the love they deserve. So because I posted about these this year, I decided to do a whole month and a half of just dedicated to Spirit Wear because I've been going to basketball games every Tuesday and Friday night and I just wanted to have something that other people didn't have. So I think this has forever started a trend of like a basketball season series. I don't know. So anyways, it's been fun. So without further ado, these were the OG inspiration. My husband gave me more jerseys this year, so I ran with it. And here is everything that I made for basketball season in 2026. So I did post the process of how I made these on not only Instagram, but TikTok as well. And they got some traction because I posted the original jersey vest inspiration. So my husband this year gave me 3 jerseys to play with. And so we knew that his school theme game one night was going to be jerseys, and so I knew everyone was going to wear a basketball jersey, so I wanted to make it into a football jersey. So I used a KnowMe pattern by Norris Ford, and I upcycled the basketball jerseys into a football inspired jersey. So you can see here I did that, and so this was the one that I showcased on both TikTok and Instagram. However, I ended up making 3 of these because I had 3 different colored jerseys. I also got all my trims from LWS Lynn Wardrobe Sew's trims. And so this was perfect with the gold. It's not quite like the Vegas gold, but it was good enough. So the gold and the navy. I also made this version for my husband. And so this version was a dark gray jersey, which they don't normally wear, but this was back in his ballroom of like old retired jerseys from like 15, 20 years ago. So they were all free game. So I ended up doing this one with the navy blue mesh, and my husband wore this one. And so this again was a football inspired jersey. And then this one was the one that I wore to the Jersey night specifically. And then I wore the other one at a different game, an away game. But this was the one I wore with the Vegas gold mesh because I just love it. It was so much fun, and I love the dark navy jersey. So I made those 3 out of 3 different jerseys. And then I was planning on making one for my daughter, but I just ran out of time because I was trying to make a spirit wear piece for every single home game, which was a little much being a full-time working mom, but I made it happen. So here's the other 2 looks. So in December, I took a horse quilt that I had thrifted right here, and I used the Spaghetti Western Rue quilt coat pattern for not only myself, but for my daughter, because my husband's team are the Broncos. And so any sort of like play with horse fabric you saw in that jersey vest, like the inside had the horseshoes and the horses. Their logo has a horse head. It almost looks like the Denver Broncos logo with the Indianapolis Colts logo. And it like literally looks like 2 NFL logos on top of each other, but I digress. So anytime that I see a horse print, I'm like snatching it up for basketball season. So I made these matching quilt coats for my daughter and I love the pattern so much, and because it's cold in January and February at my husband's games, I decided to make another version of the quilt coat, and I did it in a navy blue puffer. I got the puffer fabric from Fabric Godmother, and then I got the gold bias binding tape off Amazon. And so when I started sewing this piece up, I thought it looked really costumey, which is I ended up loving, I'm not gonna lie. So here is the real Rue quilt coat, and it has that fun side split. And then the fun piece that I put on the back was I bought little logos of different colleges and spelled out his team name Broncos on the back, and I just stitched these on. I didn't even iron them on. I know they're iron-on patches, but I ended up stitching them on. Everyone loved this. It was such a big hit at the game, and it's perfect because I'm usually chasing my daughter around the gym, and so I could throw on a pair of yoga pants, and I made it long enough that this part was covering my bum, so it was perfect. The matching jacket for my daughter, it was so cute on her. She made this look so freaking cute. So hers also had a tie front and the matching gold pockets. Her sleeves were a little too long for her, so we rolled them up, which was so cute. And then her patch on the back was a bucking Bronco to tie in that Bronco theme. They're so cute. So enjoy this photo. We don't post my daughter's face on the internet, but yeah, these were a big hit when we wore them, and everybody loved them. Everybody was asking me to make one, and I was like, it took too much time. So this is what I'm talking about when I was like getting ahead of myself. So this was one set of the Mommy and Me coats, and then I had already made the other horse version set. So then for his last home game of the night, I saw this photo right here as my inspiration photo, and I really, really, really wanted that skirt. My husband had purchased this sweater for me for Christmas with the horse, because he knows that I just love to wear, I don't like to wear his like logos necessarily. I love to wear all things horses to his games. Call me a horse girl. I don't even have a horse. But I saw this skirt and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make a version of that for his last game. So I ended up collecting some bandanas, and this horse bandana is from a brand called Hanker. Let me show you. Hanker, or Handker, like a handkerchief handker. And so they make custom bandanas. And so as soon as I saw that on Instagram, I was like, I've got to have it for basketball season. So I used 18 bandanas on the front and the back to get this look right here. And so I wanted my bandanas to go into that diamond shape. My inspiration just had like the square stacking. I wanted it to be more flattering with the diamond shape. So I cut this out, I laid it all out, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And I did because I had a panel of 9 for the front and a panel of 9 for the back. I ended up using the Sonder skirt from Sid Graham patterns to cut out this piece. So I had already constructed a denim version of that of her pattern, where I had stitched the front all together, all the panels, and I had stitched all the back together, which is practically the same pattern piece. So I just took that all stitched together and I traced that and made that my pattern piece. So if you go to buy that pattern, you'd have to do the same version because the skirt is paneled. So I had sewn all those panels together on a denim skirt that I was making, and I cut that out to get this version. But then I had scraps from my daughters. So I ended up making her the Penny Pants by Kelsey Marie White. It's like a barrel pant. And so I took the scraps of my skirt to make her a matching pair of pants. And then she also has a horse sweater. So we went to the game in matchy. We had another mommy and me matching moment, and the crowd went wild. No, actually it became a thing where people were actually looking forward to what we were gonna walk up in. And I didn't realize how much of a fashion statement you could make for basketball season. You may or may not know this fun fact about me, but I actually met my husband in Australia playing professional basketball. And so we played in a league called NBL 1, which is not their highest league, which is the NBL. My husband did play in that league. So it would be like what is the G League here in America. And so I played in the G League and got paid to play basketball after college. It was so fun. And I just studied fashion, and I was really into sewing. And so to be able to combine both loves of sewing and basketball has been so fun. And so I know I will continue this series, especially as my daughter grows and we continue to cheer on my husband's team. I'm definitely going to continue to build my Me Made wardrobe around basketball season for the months of December, January, and February. I had a lot of fun with it, and like I said, people were looking forward to what we were going to come in next, and it was really fun. So even if just the people on my husband's team, like all the moms and dads, loved it, that was more than enough fun for me to just create content around something that's really fun to cheer my husband and his boys on. And so we had a blast this season. So that is everything I made. I'll do my best to link it below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and come back for more fun and hopefully entertaining content. Until next time.